Today is a big day here at the Feather News. I, Danny Knight, am announcing my candidacy for Supreme Chief of Canada. Cue the music. You have been seeing my face over here for the last 2 years in these videos, and I think it's time to capitalize on this manly figure you see before you.
Wait, Danny, you're disqualified to run for chief.
Why?
Well, you don't live on the res, man.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, all of Canada is a reserve, and the Feather is going to be chief of it one day. We'll have soup and bannock on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Ooh, round dance Fridays, bingo Saturdays, and soup and bannock on Monday and Tuesday. But seriously, folks, if Canada was a reserve, we would have a state of emergency every other week. Don't forget about the res dogs and plumbing that pumps out cigarette water. And we would always have the federal court meddling in our affairs when it comes to elections. This week's story is brought to you by Thunderchild First Nations. So basically, a handsome, braided ex-pro basketball player wanted to become a band counselor, but he was ousted because he doesn't live in the community he is meant to serve. He went to the federal court because that infringed on his right to equality. And now we're waiting for some white guy to sort this out for us. By the way, this guy is the first judge to ever deliver a verdict in Cree and Dene. So, this Linklater versus Thunderchild First Nations is a whole can of worms because there are many intricate parts at play. For example, what's the point in fighting for our sovereignty when we're just going to run to the courts whenever we have disagreements? You know? And also, what are the implications of having the federal courts run our affairs for us? And finally, how can a chief and council eject an elected member? I mean, they knew he was off reserve when he was running. What kind of vetting process do they have for the candidacies? Especially someone so handsome as this fella right here. Just look at him. To put it this way, imagine Dundurn got their own sovereignty and they wanted to put in a crosswalk, but they couldn't decide where to put it, and then some guy runs to Justin Trudeau, and then the Canadian government swoops in and decides where the crosswalk goes. This case of elections has been in the courts before, and it was in the year 1999, Corbier versus Canada, a case that saw Indigenous people who lived off reserve given the ability to vote in their elections. The defendants in this case said that being prohibited to vote in their elections infringed upon their rights under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's the same argument that Linklater is using against Thunderchild First Nations. If we're allowed to live off reserve and vote, why can't we live off reserve and govern? Let's just make a pros and cons list of governing off reserve right now. Starting with pros. Pro, you would have a greater connection to the rest of the world and your urban constituents if you're in the city. Pro, access to clean water. Pro, increased awareness of the wider world. Cons, getting out of touch with your home constituents. Con, losing the natural law of the land. Con, bigger travel budget. Con, you would be passing laws that don't even apply to you. You know, upon further research, it's been found that it's up to each individual reserve to decide whether they have on-reserve or off-reserve band counselors. Sean, wake up! Fuck. Look, I know this isn't the sexiest stuff to talk about, but it brings about important questions about how we run our communities. For years, Indian Affairs were the ones who were in control of everything, and now times are changing. In order to operate true sovereignty, it's important to have a robust and healthy law and order system so that members of the community can have free and fair elections. If it takes a few ugly court cases to get there, then so be it. I get and respect Michael's decision to fight for justice, but yet it's weird that he has to run to Justin Trudeau to receive justice. And it just sucks that his home community couldn't see the error of their ways. So that's why, today, I am officially announcing my candidacy for Supreme Judge of Canada. That's right! If there are any further disagreements among our communities, you guys can come to us, the Feather. Don't run to these white courthouses. They won't love you like us.
Danny, judges aren't elected.
Oh, really? Well, the point I'm making is that we need an Indigenous Supreme Court that can handle cases for us. And on this Supreme Court, we'll have soup and bannock on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. You get the point. And that's it for us. Don't get arrested.
You benefit from the patriarchy. take it down.